Good afternoon and welcome to our Get Connected Training and Technical Assistance webinar. I'm Rebecca Vierhoff-Kiss. I'm the Outreach and Education Officer at Serve Ohio. And I am really excited to have so many folks on the call today to learn more about this great new program that we have to connect volunteers to opportunities and to build capacity for nonprofits and community organizations across the state to better engage volunteers. If you haven't already done so, I would encourage you to introduce yourself in the chat box. And it's really great actually looking through all of the various folks who are here with us today, diverse organizations from across the state. So I'm really excited that you've given us your time for this next hour to learn about this new system that we have. So as we're all familiar with these online webinars at this point, I think we're all webinared out, but you all know that the chat box is our best friend. So if you have questions throughout, please type them in the chat box, or feel free to unmute your line and ask questions over the phone. You can interrupt me all day long. So this really is about showing you the system, showing you the functionality of the system, and answering any questions or concerns that you might have. So I will be monitoring the chat box as we go through, but if I miss something, feel free to unmute yourself and talk over the audio line. So I'm going to start the webinar today with giving you just an introduction to the strategy behind Get Connected and why we've decided to launch a statewide volunteer portal. I'll talk a little bit about some of the benefits for nonprofits across the state. And when I say nonprofits, you'll have to excuse me. Sometimes that's just the language that I say. But when I talk about nonprofits using this system, I'm talking about nonprofits, faith-based organizations, community organizations, government organizations, companies. So this is a volunteer platform that is available to lots of different types of organizations. So if I continue to say nonprofits, please, I mean a very broad sense of the types of opportunities that we can post on this site. So I'll talk a little bit about the benefits, and then I'm actually going to spend the bulk of this call doing a demo of the site so that you can see how it works, you can see the functionality of it, and ask questions as we go along. So let me start off by, why are we doing a statewide portal? So we have really, over the past 3 months, since we've kind of entered into this pandemic, and there has been great needs across the state, really eminent needs across the state, we've really seen that there is a gap in having one place that we can send folks to at the statewide level to get connected to ways that they can create a positive impact on their community. You know that the governor has done press conference almost daily for months now, and I feel like if there was a statewide portal that we can send folks to the local level, that could have been a really valuable resource for the state. And so we took this as a great time to forge that work and start to build relationships up across the state to send volunteers to their local organizations to get connected. So I do want to make known that many of you live in communities where there is a volunteer center. And when I say volunteer center, I mean a local organization, usually a nonprofit or a United Way. Sometimes they're called hands-on affiliates. But these are organizations in a community that compile volunteer opportunities and act as a one-stop shop for their community to get connected to volunteer opportunities. And we absolutely support those organizations across the state. And in fact, I will show you in our system, we want volunteers to go there first. Our goal is not to provide another place to post things so that volunteer administrators have one more place to post things. We really want to send volunteers to their local communities where we know that relationships are built and maintained. So again, when you see the site, I'll show you how we are funneling folks to their local volunteer center. With that being said, there are many regions across the state that do not enjoy a volunteer center, primarily in rural communities in Ohio, and there's some other more urban areas that don't have those resources there as well. And so it's our goal to provide a volunteer management platform and a technology that can compile volunteer opportunities for a region if they don't have a volunteer connector organization in their community. So I'll show you again how that works when I start the demo piece. The other nice thing about this system is that it will allow us to group volunteer opportunities together and do statewide initiatives based on given impact areas. So one initiative that I can see us doing moving forward is MLK Day. We've always done a grant competition for MLK Day and promoted MLK Day across the state. But this system will allow us to group all MLK Day opportunities across the state so that volunteers, if they're looking for somewhere that they can volunteer for MLK Day, they can come to get connected, find local volunteer opportunities, and make that connection with nonprofits at the local level. We can do this with lots of different types of initiatives. Virtual volunteering is one that is top of mind probably for most of you guys. That's certainly something that we could create an initiative around. Mentoring for National Mentoring Month, and so on and so forth. So that's something that we're really interested in. And this site will also allow us to do a statewide volunteerism campaign, to do PSAs around volunteering in the state of Ohio, and send folks to this website, and again, connect volunteers to local organizations where they can find opportunities that meet their needs. So our goal with the site is to do outreach in June and probably early parts of July. You saw that there are lots of training opportunities over the next few weeks. And we're hoping to do a soft launch in July, probably mid-July, to open it up to the public. So this is currently not something that we are publicly promoting. This is something that we are working with our nonprofit partners and community organization partners across the state to input their volunteer opportunities now so that we have a nice, robust offering when we do a public launch here in several weeks. So before I go into what's kind of in it for nonprofits or what some of the benefits are, does anybody have any questions right now about our strategy and our goals in this site? Great, hearing none, I will keep moving forward. So what's in it for nonprofits? Why should you help? Jared asked me to magnify my screen. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys. Is that better, Jared? What's in it for nonprofits? First of all, it's free. So like I said, one of the main goals of this system is to provide not just a place for volunteers to find opportunities, but this can act as a volunteer platform for smaller grassroots organizations that don't have sophisticated volunteer management software. And so you will see that as I do the demo, that there's some really great functionality that can be used for volunteer administrators. And it's free. So there's not going to be a membership fee or anything like that. This is absolutely a free system that we are offering to the field. It's really nice that volunteers, when they create their volunteer profiles, they create their skills and interests and causes that they care about. You'll see when you create an agency profile for your organization that you will put in specific causes that you care about. And then when you create volunteer opportunities, you're able to request specific skills. The system will match those up together, and they will send suggestions to volunteers using the site about potential opportunities that they might be interested in. So the information here is not static, and it's not just organically volunteers need to stumble upon your opportunity. It's really nice that it has some technology that creates matches and sends those matches to the volunteers on a regular basis. I think they get a weekly digest of opportunities that meet their interest. So again, that's another way that it can help to bring folks continually back to the site. There's useful reports. You'll see that there's a nice reporting function on the back end of the system, and I'll show you that. There's a really cool function on agency profiles where volunteers, if they really love your organization, can what it calls fan an organization, which basically just means you like it in a Facebook term. And once a volunteer fans your organization, then they will get updates on any new opportunities that you create or any changes to your profile. They will be the first to know. So you can really build up some relationships with volunteers as they use the site. Hopefully this will help you gain exposure to a statewide audience. And again, our goal is to use our resources to funnel folks to the local level. So our goal is to gain some exposure for nonprofits across the state, and has lots of useful features that I will get into here in just a few minutes. Trish asks, will these documents that you're showing be available to us? Sure, I would be happy to send this in a follow-up email for sure. Okay, so the URL to the site is servohio.galaxydigital.com. And I'd encourage you to bookmark this so that you don't have to kind of go back through emails to find the site. We don't have this on our website. Again, this is not something that is publicly available yet. So you kind of have to know how to get there. So the site is servohio.galaxydigital.com. And so I'm actually going to pull up the site so that you can take a look. So when you get to the Get Connected site, you'll see that there are multiple ways that you can kind of get to opportunities. Lorinda asks, will that URL change after the launch? No, it will not. That will always be the URL for the system, but we will have it very clear how to from our ServOhio website. So if you go to the ServOhio website, we will have nice web banners and all of that fun stuff to get people directly to the Get Connected site. Okay, so you'll see here that there's a button here that takes you to look at volunteer opportunities. I'll get there in just a second. Here's a nice button where you can go to register your organization to create your agency profile. But the big thing here that we're trying to get volunteers to do first is this red ribbon here that says find your local volunteer center. So I had talked about the fact that there are volunteer connector organizations across the state who are doing this work, and we do not want to duplicate those services. So listed here are the counties and the sites where volunteers should go to find local volunteer opportunities first. So for example, organizations that are in Franklin County, there are a couple options here. They can go to the United Way of Central Ohio, which consequently they're using Galaxy Digital as well. So their volunteer opportunities are going to feed up to the statewide site. There's a few organizations that will be the case, that it's kind of seamless transition, but not in all cases. So if you, well, I'll get to the agency part later, but this is for the volunteers. They should go here first to these organizations. If a volunteer does not see their county listed here and they don't have a local volunteer center, that's where they should click here and be connected to the volunteer opportunities that are specifically listed on the Get Connected site. Let me go back to the home page. If a volunteer would go directly to this volunteer opportunities button, it goes to the same place. So this is just the general volunteer opportunity list. Now, these are not the default sort for all of the volunteer opportunities in the site is the newest one that has been added, right? So if something was just added today, that's probably going to be at the top of the list. For a statewide site, that doesn't do much for anybody. So volunteers are probably going to need to search. So they can search by a phrase. They can type in any kind of phrase here if they're interested in working with kids, tutoring, food prep, you know, whatever it is that they're interested in doing, they can do that. There's a sort here that allows them to sort by when the opportunity was posted. But again, that's not going to do much for a statewide site. For somebody who is looking for a volunteer opportunity on a statewide site, they're probably going to go by either distance or by their county. And that's where we would recommend volunteers to go. So you can go to this nice filter by drop-down menu, and you can create distance. So maybe you want something that's within 10 miles of your zip code. 43215. And I can search, and a list of volunteer opportunities within 10 miles of 43215 will be listed. So if I wanted to drill down further, I can do that. So maybe I want to find an opportunity that I can bring my family to. So I say, yes, I want this to be a family-friendly opportunity. And I can search even further, and that will narrow the search for me in that way. And perhaps I want to even say, as a family, we want to be able to, you know, do something around education. And then that drills it down even more. So you've got a much more manageable list of things. So again, the nice thing is that there is really good technological sorting here. It's smart, I think, is the big news here. So so that's a nice thing in order to really drill down to find opportunities that are meaningful for folks and meeting their interests. So that's the opportunity sort. If you go over here to this side dashboard, you can click on organizations. And organizations lists all of the organizations who are currently in the system. They're alphabetical, but if you wanted to find a particular organization, you can search for that here. So I'm going to search for Equality for All, which is my test organization. So this is something that I just created. It's not a real organization, but this shows you can kind of search for it, Equality for All. Let's see what that looks like. So this is an agency profile. When you complete your agency profile, this is the information that is shown. You'll see there's a place for a logo here where you can showcase your logo. So there is a bit of branding that can go on with it. You can be really intentional about talking about who you are, which is basically your mission statement. And then what we do is, you know, your programming and why a volunteer would want to engage with your organization. And then here you'll see that all of the volunteer opportunities with your organization will be listed in one place. So this is really nice for organizations across the state who might not have a volunteer management system or might not have a great way to kind of promote your volunteer opportunities. You can actually, this is a unique link. So you can copy and paste this link and perhaps embed it in your website, or if somebody expresses interest in volunteering, this can be used as kind of your site where volunteers get connected to you. If a volunteer is interested in an opportunity, they can click the details. This is a gardening opportunity, and you'll see that there are multiple shifts available for this opportunity, all listed in one place. If they were interested for a particular shift, they would respond individually, and you or whoever the volunteer the volunteer opportunity contact will get an email with the volunteer's name and email address and contact information for you to follow up with them. Let's go back to Equality for All, to the agency profile. You'll see there's causes here that you'll select when you're creating your agency profile. There's contact information. You can upload photos, which I would encourage you to do. It makes your profile look really nice. A link to your website and your office hours here as well. So that's what your agency profile looks like. So let's go through and learn how to create your agency profile. You would go either to click here to register your organization, or you would come to this blue box here. So again, we want folks to get connected to their local volunteer center. So if you all have a volunteer center in your county or in your community, we really encourage you to post your opportunities with them. If for some reason you are not able to post with them, or maybe they don't serve your, your geographic area or something like that, you can certainly post with us. But again, this is our way of trying to support the local volunteer efforts that are there, but also providing a platform for organizations that might not have that support in their community. I have a question here from Julie. She says, our members serve in many communities. Some of those communities are listed as having a volunteer center and some are not. Would we be qualified to post our positions on the site? So Julie, you're running specifically an AmeriCorps program, so I would like for you to post directly on Get Connected. For others of you who might be an organization that serves multiple counties, if that's the case, you should post with us. I hope that answers your question. If you have any questions about whether you should post on Get Connected or post here, just email me, and we can have a conversation about what that looks like. Or, sometimes posting in two places doesn't hurt anything, but there are a few organizations that are using Galaxy Digital that are their information is feeding up to the state system, and we don't want to have duplication. So again, just email me if you have questions about that. Question from Jess. I know of another volunteer recruitment platform for Franklin County. Are you able to add a link to their site? Absolutely, Jess. Please email me that information and I would be happy to list that. And the same goes for all of you. If I've missed something here, if there's a good resource that we should be listing on the site, I very much encourage you to let me know. Okay, so don't see your county listed here. That's fine. Click here and you'll get to the sign up your organization page. So all of this information will feed directly into your agency profile. So it's pretty general information, no shockers here. Your organization name, the organizational manager email. So whoever is going to manage your agency profile should be that listed here. And this is publicly facing information. So it will be listed on your agency profile. Your address, the contact person, which should match that email. And if you want to put the email as like a generic info at, or something like that to your organization in general, you are free to do that as well. Additional notification recipients. So this would be if you have maybe a volunteer director and you have a volunteer coordinator, and maybe you want the volunteer director to be the main contact for your agency profile, but you want your volunteer coordinator to get the emails and to get information as well. You can add additional folks here so that there's more than one person that's able to access your account. Organizational email, again, it might be the same thing as what you put as your primary contact email, or you can put in an info at, organization.org there. So that's just up to you. If you want to just put the volunteer manager's email twice, that's fine. Phone number, so causes. So this is where you select specific impact areas that your organization addresses. You can put as many as you want. So maybe you do education, you also do environment, and mental wellness. So again, this is the information, one piece of information that the system is going to use to match volunteers to your agency. So you just want to be thoughtful about what you're putting here. The customized link, this is just a suffix that you can use for the ending of your URL on your agency profile. So I would just recommend just putting the name of your agency. So it would be for the Equality for All agency example, the customized link, I would just put Equality for All. Hours of operation, what we do, again, this is, your programs, your activities, the things that you do to address needs in your community. And then the who we are is a shorter piece of information. It's really just your mission and vision of your organization. Facebook, Twitter, this is a website, your primary website here. If you want to link it directly to your volunteer page on your website, that's completely up to you, or you can just put it to general information, that's fine too. If you have an organizational video, you can upload that and that will show up on your agency profile as well. The contact information and then a password, and then you would request an account. When you request an account, ServeOhio does need to approve it. We try to do that in very short order, in less than 24 hours. And when we're looking to approve organizations, we're really looking to make sure that there's not duplications in the system, and that if maybe you should be posting with one of your volunteer centers, if there's going to be some issues with that, then we'll follow up with you directly with any concerns that we would have. But most often I'm just going to kind of take a look and approve your organization right away. Once your organization is approved, then you are able to start posting your volunteer opportunities, and we don't approve the volunteer opportunities. So you can post as many as you want or need, and that does not need to be approved. Once you're approved, your agency is approved in the system, you're good to go to start posting opportunities. So I'm going to log in to the system, and we will take a look at the back end of the agency profile. And while I'm logging in here, please feel free to ask any questions on the audio or to type them in the chat box. Okay, so this is Equality for All. This is my organizational profile. I see a question from Lorinda. She says, our volunteer program is statewide with 12 different regional program offices. They are all called the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. Would those be flagged as duplications? No. So Lorinda, what I would suggest that you do is your agency profile might be the Ohio Department of Aging, or if you want to call it like long-term ombudsman or whatever you want to call your agency, and then you would create different volunteer opportunities for those 12 regional program offices is I think the best way to do that. That way All of those different opportunities will show up in searches. They'll have different addresses and different zip codes so that they'll show up in the search, and that if somebody was interested in your organization, then all of the volunteer opportunities would be listed under that umbrella agency. So hopefully that helps. Okay, great. So here's Equality for All's organizational profile on the back end of the system. So all of the information that you put into the sign up form is automatically updated. And when you log in, this edit tab is the default. So it always will come to this default. You'll see that there are nice tabs here with different options for you to get information. If you want to update your information at any time, you can do that. You just kind of change your information, and there's lots of these blue update organizational info buttons. Any of them will update the entire page. They're just there in multiple places to remind you that you need to save your information if you make changes. I do want to go down to the bottom to point to the photos section. This is where you can upload photos. And again, I would encourage you to upload photos. It looks really nice, and it just kind of helps your volunteers to get excited about what it is that you do and what they could potentially be doing with your organization. So if you have them, I'd encourage you to upload them. You can put as many as you want. It just, if you put one, it'll just be kind of static on your profile. If you put multiple, it'll just rotate them around. And then up here is where you would include your logo. It does need to be a square logo, at least 540 by 540 pixels. So if you have questions about that, just let me know, but just play around with it, upload what you have, and then if you're having some trouble, feel free to reach out and I will troubleshoot with you as I can. One other thing that I wanted to point out here is this organization manager's toolbox. So this kind of orangey ribbon here. If you ever get stuck and you can't figure something out, if you click that tab, you will see a list of resources here and FAQs that can help you. So training resources, how to post opportunities, how to create an effective opportunity, all kinds of good information here to help you get going if you have specific questions. You can always also email me at any point. I am happy to help. And if you click this blue button here that says contact my site manager, that will pop up an email to me and I will get that directly. So you can always just kind of click that button and ask me a question, and I'm happy to help in any way that I can. Okay, so that's the edit section. There is a button here for view. If you go there, it will pop up the front end of the site. So if you make changes on the edit tab and you want to see what it looks like on the front tab, you can easily hit that view button and it pops up a new window for you so that you can see what it looks like on the front end of the system. So then we can go to the opportunities tab. This is where you can list all of your volunteer opportunities, and they're all in this nice table. So you saw Equality for All had 3 different volunteer opportunities, which are here. And you can edit the opportunity. You can view all of the responses, and that just means that you will see a list of all of the volunteers who have either signed up or expressed interest in your volunteer opportunity. Or you can view it, and that will pop up another window that shows you the front end of your volunteer opportunity. So you can see what it looks like. Again, just to be able to easily kind of see what it looks like on the front end, and if something doesn't look right, you can always close it out and change that. You can also, up here in this blue button, add a new opportunity. Sorry, let me go back for a second. I'm going to pop that open in a new window, and I will come back to that here in just a minute. So let's go to Empower Youth as a Reading Tutor. and see what that looks like. I'm not going to create a brand new opportunity. I'm just going to show you what it looks like to update it, and then you would just start this from scratch if you were to create a brand new opportunity. The nice thing is here that there is a link to the volunteer opportunity at the top. So you can always copy and paste this into a new tab to see what it looks like as well. Or if you're editing a volunteer opportunity, you can view the responses. And again, this will bring up a list of all of the volunteers who have registered for your opportunity. You can see you can put in a nice title. You can create your description here. A lot of you will probably just copy and paste what you have for other, where it's posted for other things. It's really nice. You can add links here if you want to. You can upload pictures here if you want to, create different fonts and different colors and things. So you can really have fun with it and make it really pop. You can make the opportunity public or private. Maybe you want to create a project for a corporate partner who's going to come into your organization, and you want to have a place for them to register their staff, but you don't want it to be available to the public. You can mark the opportunity as private and then share that specific link with your group so that they can register and log in without it being available to the public. So that's a nice system to be able to create group opportunities that are not publicly available. This initiative button is for if we, like I had said in the beginning, if we wanted to create groups of opportunities around a given impact area or a given initiative, this is where you would say that this opportunity is part of that initiative. So for example, we have an initiative set up for Ohio AmeriCorps programs and AmeriCorps opportunities so that all AmeriCorps positions are in one place and that anybody looking to do AmeriCorps can just go to that link and search through AmeriCorps member position descriptions across the state. Again, we could do that for MLK Day. We could do that for lots of different things. But if your opportunities are not associated with an initiative through Serve Ohio, then you would just keep this as no initiative. The duration, this is where I'm going to open up this new tab here, because once you have, sorry, let me open this. Once you have an initiative, once you have an opportunity duration, then it's really hard to change it. So you can have an ongoing volunteer opportunity. That is something that is static. It's always there. It's not changing. So if you run a mentoring program and you are always looking for mentors, then you would create it ongoing because you're always going to need them. And this is always a need that you have for your organization. You can also, if you're only looking for mentors in the academic school year, and so you're not going to be recruiting them in the summer, you can select runs until, and that will expire the volunteer opportunity after you're done. So you can put an expiration date on that, maybe for June 1st, and then at June 1st, it will become inactive. Happens On is for one-time volunteer opportunities. And this would be if you have a volunteer project going on. So maybe you have a group of volunteers, you're recruiting volunteers to come and work in your community garden on a Saturday morning. You would say Happens On, and it has a specific date and time and a specific end time. And that's what you would choose there. Multi-date would be if you have a volunteer opportunity that would span several days. Maybe you have a 5K and it's going over the entire weekend and you have multiple shifts over multiple days. You would select multi-date, and there's some really smart functionality on how to create opportunities for different days and different times. And then there's also opportunities if you create a new one, you can do shifts. So you can do custom shifts and you can do recurring shifts. If you always need volunteers on Mondays from 9 to 5, you can create one opportunity that will populate that shift every Monday so the volunteers can select what shifts they want to do for your organization. So there's lots of selection under the duration type. And again, it's not meant to be overwhelming with too many options. It's really supposed to be flexible to what your needs are. The number of hours, this would be just general. If it's an ongoing opportunity, it's really going to be how many hours are standard. So if you're looking for somebody to come in and answer phones in your organization and you want them for 6 hours a day, then you just put 6 hours here. I see Lori has a question. Is there an option for a one-time volunteer opportunity? You're looking for somebody to paint a fence, but you don't have a specific date it needs done. You don't have a specific date it needs done. I would put that, that might be an ongoing opportunity. If you don't have a specific date and time that you want somebody to paint a fence, but you're just looking for a volunteer to paint a fence, I would probably put that as an ongoing opportunity. And then once you find your volunteer and you schedule them, then you can make that opportunity inactive. That's what I would do. Or if it does have a specific date and time to paint the fence, then that would be a happens on. Hopefully that answers your question, Lori. Hours description, you can put flexible, or if it's a specific, if you have a specific schedule, you need them from 9 to 5 on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, then you can let them know what the actual hours are that they would be expected to work. You can say yes, you want teams to be able to register, or no. If it's, if for Lori's example, if you want people to be painting a fence, maybe you do want teams to come because, more hands will get that fence painted quicker. But if it is mentoring opportunity, you don't need a group to sign up for a mentoring opportunity. That's really a one-on-one thing. So you can turn off the team registration, or you can say teams only. Maybe you only want teams for some reason. Minimum age, maximum age, this defaults to 120. You can put whatever maximum age you want to in there if that makes sense for your opportunity. Or if you leave it blank, it'll just say and older. So if I left this blank, it would just say 18 and older. You can tag it to be family friendly, outdoors. If you do have it as an outdoor activity, a box will pop up for your inclement weather plan so that a volunteer knows and can expect what the plan is if it rains and they can't do the activity outdoors. Is it wheelchair accessible? And then attributes. So these are snippets of information that either you really want to highlight for volunteers or that you want to entice volunteers to sign up. So for this one, I put you have to go through a background check and you must love working with youth. You might also say, bring your garden tools, or you must bring your own gloves, or you have to go through an interview process. Whatever it is that you really want to stick out to volunteers, you want to put here as an attribute. And I'll show you what that looks like on a volunteer opportunity here in just a second. Is it virtual? Yes or no? The address here. And again, this is where this would differentiate between different opportunities. So if you have a program that serves multiple regions and it's the same opportunity, it's just in a different geographic location, this is what you would do. You would change the address. The nice thing down here, if you get to the bottom, there's this button that says clone opportunity. And this will actually create a duplicate of this volunteer opportunity. And when it creates that duplicate, all you need to do is go in and maybe change the address, or if there's a few tweaks that you need to make in the description, you can do that, but you don't have to go through all the work over again. You can clone an opportunity and just make some tweaks here and there, which is a nice shortcut. Skills and abilities. This is a way to match volunteers to your organization and to your opportunities. So whatever the skills and abilities you're looking for, You can list them here, and you can list as many as you want. Additional notification recipients would be if there are multiple people that you want to get alerted when a volunteer signs up, you can add additional folks to this. So maybe within your organization, if you have an opportunity working with your finance department and you want your finance person to get an email when somebody registers for the opportunity, you can put your finance person as an additional notification, and they'll only get emails about this opportunity, not for anything else on the site. And then if you have a waiver that you want volunteers to have ahead of time, then you can upload that here as well. So then you would either save your opportunity if it's brand new, or in this case, you can update the opportunity to make those saves. And then again, here's this link at the top. You can copy and paste that into a new tab, and you can see what the volunteer opportunity looks like. It's ongoing, it's a flexible schedule. Here's the description that we had. Here's the agency, so your organizational profile is listed here so that if they wanted to see what else you offer with your organization, they can click there and go to your agency profile. The skills are listed, and then these additional details that we filled out. Those attributes that we said, must pass a background check and must love working with youth, those are listed there. And again, it just kind of pops out the information so that it highlights little pieces of information that you would like to communicate with your volunteers. Okay, so that's how you create a volunteer opportunity on the page. Let's quickly go through these other pieces that you have access to, and then we'll have just a few minutes for questions. So the stats tab is where you will find all of the information about who has signed up for your opportunities. So under each volunteer opportunity, you have a list, and you can export a list of the different volunteers who have signed up for each opportunity. But if you just want everybody in one place who has registered for something with your organization, that's all listed here. This is a test site, so it has my name written a million times because I, registered for my own volunteer opportunities. But ideally, in a perfect world, these are going to be lots of different people who have volunteered for different opportunities that you have. You can export these responses so that you have them in an Excel spreadsheet if that's helpful. And you can filter the time frame that it will show. So maybe it defaults to a month, what's happened in the past month, but maybe you want to see since the beginning of April how many volunteers and who has volunteered. You can filter that by your date range. And you will be able to see how many fans you have. Again, this is how many people like your organization, and then how many people have viewed your organization as well. So that's nice to have all of that great information in one place. The schedule is really for opportunities that have a shift. So for an ongoing opportunity, the schedule doesn't make much sense, but for if you have a one-time event or a shift that you're recruiting volunteers for, you can click the schedule and you can click the opportunity on that date, and it will actually list all of the volunteers who have registered for that opportunity in that shift. So you can see how many volunteers you have coming in today for your garden harvester project. If you want to export those opportunities, you can do that here. If you need them in an Excel spreadsheet for whatever reason, you can do that. That's a nice option for, again, if you have shifts. Time tracking. One of the beauties of this system is for the volunteers, they are able to create a volunteer resume where they have listed all of the volunteering that they've done, and they can submit their hours for approval. So maybe they volunteered for you for your garden harvester project, and they want you to approve and confirm their hours. On their profile, they can send a message to you asking you to approve their hours. If they do that, you will have your volunteers listed here that says, you know, Rebecca Veerhoff-Kiss has pending volunteer hours, and you'll be able to either approve or deny their hours. You can also decide to approve and deny hours on your end by selecting your volunteer opportunity and then selecting the volunteer who has registered for your opportunity, and you can add the hour, the date that they worked, the number of hours that they worked. If you wanted to say something about the miles that they traveled, you can put that in there. If they brought additional people with them, you can capture those hours as well. Maybe they, you know, came and they brought their mom, and so you would want to put one additional person, they brought their mom, and then you could submit that hour entry and it will record those hours on your end. It will record those hours on the volunteer's end. Check-in is pretty cool. There's a check-in kiosk that you can launch. So this is the check-in kiosk. If you have an iPad or maybe just a laptop and you have volunteers coming in for signing in for their project, and maybe they volunteered through Get Connected, or maybe they didn't, either one is fine. If they do have an account, you can, they can click that button, they can enter their name. Oh, that's the problem with having multiple accounts. I'm everything that you could ever be in this system. I'm a volunteer, I'm an agency manager, I'm all of it. Okay, so yes, this is me, and it automatically checks me in. Go to start, your next volunteer can sign in. So this can actually replace your sign-in sheet, which is a pretty cool function for the system too. And then their hours are already recorded. So that's that feature as well. So as you can see, it acts both as, again, a volunteer site where volunteers can get connected, but it really can act as a volunteer management tool, especially for organizations that currently do not have one. So that's really the demo, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys might have. So we have about 5 minutes. Does anybody have any questions for me? And I will say, you know, I encourage you to go in, create an agency profile, and play around with the system and see how it can work for you. And again, you can always reach out to me at any point if you have any questions, and I'm happy to troubleshoot with you, you know, if you do. So I will stick on here until 2 o'clock. If you don't have any questions, you are free to sign off. And I thank you again for your time and attention to our new system, which we're really excited about, and really hope that this is a value add for the sector. So I will stick around if you have questions. If not, have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll talk soon. Thank you. Rebecca asks if this recording will be sent out. How can we access this after? Absolutely, I can certainly send this out, a recording out with the sheets from the beginning. So yes, absolutely.